verbs. What this word before? Then he told me that to me, but I remember her name is Ren. What? Why did I ask that I heard but not Ren. Ren is not here. Oh, yeah, I'm not here. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because here in France we say Ahu, in Turkey we say Mara. Yeah, Mara is Turkish and it means here, like the animal. And Farsi we say Ahu. In Arabic we say Red. Green. So, like everybody has different names for different things. I know my son's fiancée, her name is Akmara. It's a Turkish name. Ak means white, Mara means it's a white deer. Yeah. So that's why I learned her name so fast. I thought, oh, okay, I got it. And my cousin's name is Mara, but it's a Turkish name. But we have lots of Turkish Arabic names in Iran. My kids all got Arabic names, and they call me, why didn't you give us Persian names? Why you pick Arabic names? I said, because we was like, I don't know Arabic names. He said, but you should have waited for us to pick our names. I said, excuse me, who did that? I'm not going to be the first guy.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. My daughter says, why you call me Arabic names? I said, I could not reach the university, so I just put some name and give me a choice to change it later on. No, that's not happening, never. My name is Persian. All my sisters, brothers are Persian, Arabic. I'm the Persian one. I speak Arabic. They don't
صباح الخير كيف حالكم? How are you all doing? Okay, today we'll be talking about the most important lesson that you'll have throughout your Arabic learning career. Okay, this lesson is the most important. Please pay special attention here. Okay, so we'll be talking today about al-jidh was-sigha. Al-jidh, it's the root. As-sigha, it's the pattern. It's important to know that any Arabic word consists of a root and a pattern. You can think of the root as the liquid that you pour into any container. The container will be our pattern. So let's say that you pour any of these liquids, let's say water, into any of the different shaped containers. It will remain water essentially. So that's the case with words sharing the same root. So words sharing the same roots will be like essentially any if you put just one liquid inside any of these different shaped containers. The container it's what gives the liquid its exterior shape, and that's the pattern. So let's talk about that in more detail. So al-jidh, or the root is the three-letter basic building block of any Arabic word. Arabic, like other Semitic languages, they are built around one building block, okay, which is called the root. It's a three-letter. It's consisting of three letters, and it gives the word its core meaning. It's important to note that all root letters are consonants, so whenever you have a root, you will not find any vowel in there. Consonants include the semi-vowel letters waw and ya, but they do not include the alif. Okay, so you'll never find an alif letter, because the alif is always a vowel. You'll never find an alif letter in the root. So the root letters are always consonants, and these include the waw and ya semi-vowels. This is something that you always need to remember. All words sharing the same root will share a common meaning. So just remember, the root is the three-letter basic building block. So any word consists of a root plus affixes that you add to this root. Okay, either prefixes, circumfixes, or suffixes. So all words sharing the same root will share a common meaning, but they will differ in the affixes. Sometimes the semantic relationship, however, between words sharing a common root may not be very obvious. But it's always there, you just need to go back in time. Do you remember when we were talking about the words hadara and hadara? What's hadara? Hadara, it's to come, okay, so in the past tense with huwa. So that's hadara. What's hadara? Anyone remembers? Civilization. Mumtaz. Anyone remembers? Okay, so these two words, by the way, they share the common root of ha, wad, ra. So the root of both consists of the three letters ha, wad, ra. Okay? So anyone remembers what's the semantic relationship, i.e. the relationship in the meaning between the two words?
It's like I came and then I conquered, like I'm still in
Okay, not exactly. So hadara in modern standard Arabic, it indicates to come, but in classical Arabic, it didn't just indicate to come. Okay? In classical Arabic, you will find, and that's very frequent, that you'll find that the semantic indication of the verb does not just apply one thing, but in many cases it may apply more than one thing. Katie?
To come and be present fully.
To come and be influential. Okay, so it's not just being physically present. Okay, so many persons may come but may not be influential. Their presence may not be even felt. Okay, but hadara in classical Arabic, it's to come and to be influential, not just being physically present. Unlike ja'a, for instance, ja'a is just to come in classical Arabic, but hadara, it's to come and be influential. And as I told you, in classical Arabic, there are no two words that are completely synonymous. There are no two synonyms in classical Arabic. Unlike in modern standard Arabic, hadara and ja'a may be used both with the same semantic indication, just to come. But in classical Arabic, this is not the case. So hadara is to come and be influential, okay? So what about hadara? Can you try to guess the semantic relationship now between hadara and hadara? Hadara is civilization. So what can be the semantic relationship between coming and being influential, okay, and hadara, civilization? Okay, any civilization, it's not just, okay, so you may have some parts of history, okay, some points in history in a specific place of the world where this part of the world has no influence on other countries and on the history of the world. But when there is a civilization in any part of the world, it influences the lands that are around, and it influences and changes history of mankind as well. So hadara, it's not, again, so it's very much related to not just being there in this specific part of the world, but being influential, okay, at the countries and or lands around it, as well as throughout history. The number of Arabic roots is huge. Theoretically, it's, okay, we have 28 letters, we have 28 possibilities for the first letter, 28 possibilities for the second, and 28 possibilities for the third letter, which are the 28 consonants that we have in Arabic. However, not all of these are always used, okay? So that's theoretically the maximum number of roots that you can have, but the actual number of roots, it varies with time. So some roots may have been used 1,000 years ago, they are not used today, and some roots may be used, okay, hundreds of years from now that are not used today. So the number of roots is always changing. From each root, you can derive hundreds of words. So we have theoretically, that's the maximum number of roots that we can get in Arabic. okay, the actual number of roots that are used, it varies from time to time. And from each root you can derive hundreds of words, whether verbs or nouns. And under the general umbrella of nouns we'll have adjectives and adverbs as well. The origin of the meanings of the roots is almost always sensory or material, which is the case with Semitic languages in general. So, for instance, the word adl, okay, which currently is used to indicate fairness or justice, you'll find that the root for it, which is the ayn, dal, lam root, it has nothing to do with the concept itself, the concept of fairness or justice, but it originally referred to something that Arabs used to put on top of the camel to keep their balance, okay, so to keep them balanced in order not to be inclined, okay, on any side. So, and later on, this thing that, okay, this root became indicative or mainly just used to indicate fairness or justice. So, any questions so far? Okay, so again, the root, it's the three-letter basic building block of any Arabic word. All words sharing the same root will always share a common meaning. Sometimes the semantic relationship may not be very obvious, such as in this case, but it's always there. You always need to go back in time to understand the semantic relationship. So let's have, for instance, this root, the root kaf, ta, ba. Anyone remembers what this root has to do with? Writing, yeah. Okay, so the root kaf, ta, ba, it has to do with writing. So by default, any word that will have this root, okay, will have to do with writing. From this root you can derive up to 10 verb forms. Each can be conjugated in 34 ways. So you can have 340 verb words out of the root kaf, ta, ba. So for instance, these are among the 10 verb forms that you can have. Kataba, kattaba, kataba, aktaba, takataba, istaktaba. Okay? All of these words, by the way, they are sharing the same root, which is the kaf, ta, ba. And these are all conjugated with huwa in the past, and each one of these can be conjugated in 34 ways in the three tenses that we have in Arabic: the past, present, and imperative. From the same root as well, kaf, ta, ba, you can derive a huge amount of nouns, including adjectives and adverbs. These are under the general umbrella of nouns, by putting the root in different patterns to get different meanings. So, among these words, for instance, Katie, can you start reading the first one?
Kitaba.
Kitaba, this refers to writing, it's the verbal noun. Katib, okay, that's writer or author. Kitab, book. Aisha. Maktub, okay, that's, okay, it refers to letter and literally it's written, okay. Maktab, which is desk or office, literally it's the place or time of writing. Maktaba, it's the feminine of maktab, okay, and it's used to indicate library, but originally, again, and literally, it's the place or time of writing. Okay. Kuttab, okay, that's the old word for school. Okay.
Mukataba.
Mukataba, Mumtaz, Brandon. Mukataba, so here is an example of what I was just saying. Mukataba, it's asking for one's freedom. Okay. So here the semantic relationship is very hard to guess. How can asking for one's freedom, okay, be related or share the same root as all words that have to do with writing, okay? So the semantic relationship with other words can be obvious. So for instance, katib, it's the writer, kitab, it's book, and it has to do with writing as well, letter, okay, place, maktab, maktaba, place or time of writing. Kuttab, even kuttab, the old word for school, okay, that's fine. But mukataba, the semantic relationship here may not be very obvious. Anyone can try to guess?
Scholars have more freedom. People are able to write and read have more freedom. Family status.
No, actually, mukataba, it had to do with slavery originally. So slaves, most of them were illiterate. So whenever they wanted to ask for their freedom, they were asking someone who used to write for a fee to exchange letters with their masters in order to pay them an amount of money to get their freedom. So the process of exchanging letters, that's what actually was called mukataba. Mukataba originally referred to exchanging letters, and after that, with time, the word mukataba, which is just exchanging letters, became associated semantically with the process of asking for one's freedom. So this is again one example where the semantic relationship may not be very obvious, may not be obvious at all actually in this case, but it's always there, It's just understanding the history behind the word. And finally, Kattaba, that's typewriter, the old word for typewriter or typing machine. So all of these words will be sharing the same root, kaf, ta, ba, and they'll all share a common meaning which has to do with writing. Any question? Let's talk now about the pattern. So just remember, what's the root? Sure. Yeah, the three-letter basic building block of any word. All words sharing the same root will share a common meaning, What about the pattern? So always remember, any word is a combination of root plus pattern. The pattern, as we mentioned earlier, is like the container, that you pour the liquid into. So if you pour water, for instance, in any of these liquids, it may have a different exterior shape, but it will essentially remain water. So that's what we refer to as all words sharing the same root will be sharing a common meaning. They will any water, it will remain water essentially regardless of the container. The container, it's like the pattern. It's what gives the external shape to the liquid. The pattern, it's like the container in which the root is poured or put. It consists of the short vowels and affixes, i.e. either prefixes before the word, suffixes after the word, or circumfixes either before or after or in the middle, added to the root. All words sharing a common pattern will share some common characteristics. These characteristics will depend actually on the pattern that is used. The patterns are weighed morphologically according to a morphological scale. This procedure of weighing according to a morphological scale, it's by replacing the three letters of the root with fa, ayn, and lam letters. So the first letter of the root will be replaced with the fa, the second letter of the root will be replaced with the ayn letter, and the third letter of the root will be replaced with the lam letter, and then you add the short vowels and affixes. We'll get quite a few examples about this procedure. So it's just worth noting here that this root itself, the fa, ayn, lam root, it has to do with doing or action, and most of the grammatical terms are derived from this root, such as fi'al. Grammatically, it means verb, and literally it means action. So the word fi'al literally means action. Grammatically, it means verb. Fa'il, literally it's the doer. Grammatically, it's the subject, and the subject is the doer of the action. Maf'ul bihi, that's the object grammatically, and literally the done to or done with, i.e. the one that the action was done to or done with. So in grammar we have fi'al, verb, fa'il, subject, maf'ul bihi, object. Okay, and literally there is an action that the doer did it, okay, and this action has been done to or done with the object. Okay? So this root fa ayin lam, it has to do with doing or action. So let's have an example of a pattern. So the first pattern that we'll talk about is the pattern fa'il. Okay? So the pattern fa'il, it indicates the doer, i.e. the subject of the action. So what is the action? This is determined by the root. So let's say for instance that we have this root, the kaf, ta, ba root. This root, just remember it has to do with writing and that. We'd like to put it in the pattern fa'il. Okay, so fa'il here, this is our container. The kaf, ta, ba, this is our liquid. Okay, so we'd like to put the root kaf, ta, ba into the pattern fa'il. So how will we do that?
Add an aleph to after the second letter and a kasra to the second last letter.
Okay, exactly. So, okay, but what's the first step, Katie?
What's the first step of that
Yeah.
process?
Yeah, you mentioned very, accurately the second step, but there is a first step. I know that you got it, okay? Yeah, it's by replacing the fa, ayin, lam with the three letters of the root, okay? So in this case, you replace the fa with kaf, the ayin with ta, and the lam with ba, okay? So that's how you replace the fa, ayin, lam of the pattern with the three letters of the root. So the kaf will be instead of the fa, the ta instead of the ayin, and the ba instead of the lam. And then you add any other thing, in this case the alif and the kasra will stay as they are. So it will be katib, okay? So just remember, the pattern fa'il indicates the doer of the action, okay? And the action here is writing, okay? So by putting the action of writing into the pattern fa'il, it will indicate the doer of that action, i.e. the writer or author, okay? So that's how the root combines with the pattern, okay, to form the noun of the doer in this case. This will be called ism al-fa'il, or the noun of the doer. So the pattern fa'il will always indicate the doer of the action. What action? This is determined by the root. Okay? So did you all get this? Okay? So we have two players here. The root, it determines the action. The pattern, it determines a specific characteristic. In this case, it determines the doer of that action. Okay? So the pattern, whenever you have a word following the pattern fa'il, it will always indicate the doer. Okay? The doer of the action. What action? This is determined by the root. Okay? So the root kaf, ta, ba, it has to do with writing. By putting it in the pattern fa'il, it will be katib. Okay? You replace the fa with the first letter of the root, which is the kaf. You replace the ayin with the second letter of the root, which is the ta. And you replace the lam with the third letter of the root, which is the ba. And you add any other things, in this case the long vowel alif and the short vowel kasra. So it will be katib, and that's literally the writer. Okay? Let's move on to Sumaira. Can you read the second one? Okay, qaf, ra, hamza, that's the root, and it will be qari. Okay, so how did we form this word?
Replace the fa with the fa, the ayin with the ra, and the lam with the
Exactly. And second step?
add an alif to the
Yeah, you're adding the extra part, okay, which is the alif and the kasra. Okay, so the root qaf, ra, hamza, it has to do with reading. So qari, it will be the doer of the action of reading, i.e. the reader. Okay? Let's move on to
Just one question. For the yeah after why?
Okay. Yeah. In this case, yeah. Okay. Just please note whenever you have the hamza written on any vowel. Okay. The hamza, just remember, it can be written on top of the alif, on top of the waw, on top or below the alif, on top of the waw, and on top of the ya. If it's written on top of the ya, the 2 dots will be removed. But in all of these cases, and it can be written on its own as well, but in all of these cases, it will remain essentially a hamza. Okay? So regardless of the letter that it is written on, it remains a hamza. So this is as if it's like a hamza. Okay? Just remember this, as I told you in quiz 1, this was one of my suggestions, okay, for a new alphabet, okay, that to just write the hamza in all cases as just a hamza. Okay, it's not very helpful for students to see, or for learners of Arabic in general, to see the hamza written, okay, on top of a vowel. Okay, this is not the best way. Okay, so the reason it's written on a ya in this case, it's because of the kasra before it. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Next one. There is, okay. So how do we form this word again?
So you replace the half with
You replace the fa with the dal, yeah. The ayn with the ra, and the lam with the sin, exactly. And you add the alif and kasra as usual, so it will be theirs. This root, dal, ra, sin, it has to do with learning or studying. Okay, so there is, it will be the doer of the action, i.e. the learner or the studier. Okay. Next one, okay. Okay. Alim, okay. So again, same case, replace the fa with the first letter of the root, ayn, replace the ayn with the second letter of the root, which is the lam, and replace the lam with the third letter of the root, which is the mim. So it will be alim. The ayn, lam, mim root, it has to do with knowing. Okay? So alim, literally and originally, it meant knower, okay? I.e. a person who knows. And after that, it has acquired the semantic indication of scientist, okay? I.e. scientist as a knower in his field. Okay? Let's move on to read. Next one. Shakir, exactly. So replacing the fa with the first letter, ayn with the second letter, lam with the third letter. So it will be shakir. This root, shin, kaf, ra, it has to do with thanking. So shakir will be the one who thanks, or the thanker. Okay? And mani, last one, you'll tell us what's missing here. Wa'id, that's it. Okay, so the root, waw, ayn, dal, it has to do with promising. Okay, so wa'id will be the promiser. Okay, and wa'id, okay, it's formed again by replacing the fa with the first letter of the root, the waw, the ayn with the second letter of the root, which is the ayn in this case, the lam with the third letter of the root, which is the dal, and add the alif and the kasra, so it will be wa'id. Okay? Any questions about this pattern? Okay. Let's move on to another pattern, the pattern maf'ul. Okay? Do you remember when we were talking about the grammatical terms? Okay? The grammar term fa'il, okay, it indicated the subject, okay, and the pattern fa'il, it indicated the doer. Okay? So here we have the maf'ul bihi, which indicated the object. The maf'ul pattern will also indicate the object of the action, i.e. the person or the object that the action was done to or done with. Okay? So the pattern or the sigha of maf'ul, it indicates the object or the one or the thing that the action was done to or done with. Okay? So here is our root kaf ta ba, Again, this root, it has to do with writing, okay? So let's move on to Layla. Can you read this word? Maktub, exactly. How did you form this root? This word, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so
because it's a maf'ul, you just add the name.
exactly. So the first step is to replace
Replace the ten instead of
the fa with the first letter of the root, which is the kaf.
Yeah, and then we just use
The ayn with the second letter of the root, the ta, and the lam with the third letter of the root, which is the ba. Okay, and then second step.
And the second, I just put the te instead of a.
Okay.
And then
Okay, so let me say that first step. I'll get to you in a second. Okay, the first step is to replace the fa with the first letter of the root.
I will put the ka taba
Yeah.
to fa'al.
Yeah, instead of the fa ayn lam. Okay, and second step, you add all the other things. Okay, so the mim with a fatha, the sukun on the first letter of the root, and the waw, okay, before the last letter of the root. Okay, so again, first step, replacing the fa with the kaf, the ayn with the ta, the lam with the ba. Second, you add all the extra things. Okay, the mim, the fatha, the sukun, and the waw. Okay, Katie.
When I look at this, I see the changes made is the meme with the fatha and the wow added and the kasra on the second letter, but it's not on the kaf. Is there a reason that it's not on the kaf?
Okay,
It's kind of two questions.
you're talking about the sukun?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, no, I just missed writing it here.
No,
Okay,
that's fine.
so yeah, it will be maktub. So maktub, it will mean, yeah, the written. Okay, so maktub, it will indicate the object of the action. What this action is, okay, that's determined by the root. Okay, so it will be the action of writing. Okay, and maktub will be the written.
So to continue with this, you add one letter and then you trade the next letter. It just seems so convoluted, especially as a new learner of the language. When I look at this, all I want to do is add a meme with a fatha, a wow, and a sukun. Is it not more simple to just look at it and see that I look at the pattern and affect the root with it?
Once you're used to it, okay, you will not need to follow any steps. You will just get it, okay, automatically, okay. So yeah, and that applies to all patterns, okay. So it's just I'm just telling you, okay, the steps in detail. But once you get used to it, okay, you will just get it automatically. You will not need to worry about following the steps.
Sorry, and I think it's the way you just say like maf'ul with maktub, like it's a sound.
Exactly, the sound, they'll always have the same morphological weight. This is what you're talking about is called morphological weight.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be, in this case, for instance, I'll get to you quick in a second. Okay, in this case, fa'il will be katib, qari, daris, alim, shakir. So all of them will have the same morphological weight, okay, the same number of syllables, and they'll have the same vowel, okay, exactly where it's located. They not have the rhyming at the end, but they will be following the same morphological weight. Same for this one, will be maktub, maqru, madrus. All will have the same morphological weight as maf'ul. Okay.
Are those still nouns?
Sorry.
Would those still function as nouns?
Yeah, these are still nouns. Yeah. Okay. So first one, it's maktub. Okay, so maktub, it's the pattern maf'ul, so it's the object. It's called ism al-maf'ul, or the noun of the object. Okay, and what's the action? It's the action of writing, so it will be the object of the action of writing, i.e. the written. Okay, is it clear, this part? Okay, Malika, next one.
Maqru.
Okay, maqru. Okay, how do we form this word?
First we put the qaf, ra,
the hamza to the form of the fa'ala.
Yeah, exactly. So we replace the fa with the qaf, the ayn with the ra, and the lam with the hamza. Second.
And then turn it to the form of
Yeah, so you basically add the mim with the fatha, the sukun, and the waw. So it will be maqru. And maqru, it's the read, i.e. the thing that is being read. It's the object of the action of reading. Okay. Next one, Matilda.
It's madrus.
Madrus, exactly. So again, how we formed it by replacing the fa with the first letter of the root, which is the dal, the ayn with the second letter of the root, which is the ra, and the lam with the third letter of the root, which is the sin. And then you add the mim, the fatha, the sukun, and the waw, so it will be madrus. And this root, it has to do with studying or learning. So it will be, madrus will be the learned or the studied, i.e. the material that is learned or studied. It will be the object of the action. Okay? And next one. Ma'loom, exactly. So again, replacing the fa with the ayn with the second letter, which is the lam, and the lam with the third letter, which is the mim. So it will be, and adding all the extra stuff, so it will be ma'loom. And this root, ayn, lam, mim, it has to do with knowing, yeah. So ma'loom will be the thing that is known, i.e. the object of the action of knowing. Okay. Next one, Munira.
Mashkur.
Mashkur. Okay. Mashkur. Again, how did we form this word?
First we put in the siqa of fa'al, and then we add the mim and the waw.
Yeah. So first you replace the fa, ayn, lam with the three letters of the root respectively, and then you add the extras, the mim with the fatha, the sukun, and the waw. So it will be mashkur, and the root shin kaf ra, it has to do with thanking. So mashkur, it will be the person who is thanked, i.e. the object of the action of thanking. Okay? And Bree,
Yeah.
you will do this one.
Majruh.
Majruh, that's it. Okay? So majruh, again you will replace the fa, ayn, lam with the jim, ra, and ha respectively. Okay, and then add the mim with the fatha, the sukun, and the waw. And jara, the root jim, ra, ha, it has to do with hurting. So majruh will be the hurt.
I have a question. So how do you know to leave the meme alone? Because that's like a consonant. Like it's always just the middle consonants. Like we leave out the last. Like. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's, yeah, I get your point. Yeah. What will be replaced are the fa, ayn, and lam letters only.
Why
Okay?
those ones and not the
Yeah, because as we mentioned, when we are using the morphological scale, we're replacing the three letters of the root with fa, ayn, lam. So in this case, we'll be doing the reverse. Okay, we'll be replacing the fa, ayn, lam with the three letters of the root. Okay, so you can either do it both ways. So you can either replace the fa, ayn, lam with the three letters of the root to get the word, or you can be, if you have this word and you're asked to weigh it according to the morphological scale. So in this case, you will replace the three letters of the root with the fa, ayn, lam, and add the extras to get the morphological weight of this word. Okay, so all of these words, okay, they will be having the same pattern and the same morphological weight, okay, which is maf'ul. A morphological weight, it's like, okay, weighing the word morphologically, okay. So it's basically replacing the three letters of the root with fa, ayn, and lam respectively, okay, to get what is called our morphological weight, okay, which is maf'ul in these cases. Okay, do you have any questions about the pattern maf'ul? Okay, let's move on to Laszlo. This is our last pattern that we will have today. The pattern maf'al or sighat maf'al. The pattern maf'al indicates the place or time of doing an action. Okay, So مفعل, whenever you have a word following the pattern مفعل, okay, it will indicate either the place of the action or the time of the action. Okay, let's go to Laszlo. Please read. Yeah, مكتب, and the feminine will be مكتبة. Okay, so مكتب and مكتبة both are following the pattern مفعل. The root for both is كاف تاء باء. Do you remember this root? It has to do with writing. Okay, so مكتب, how did we form this one? Last one?
Just replace ayin and lam with
Exactly, you replace the fa with the first letter of the root, which is the kaf, the ayn with the second letter of the root, which is the ta, and the lam with the third letter of the root, which is the ba, and then?
And I'll keep the sukun, and I'll keep the fathas.
Exactly, and you add the meme with a fatha at the beginning, okay? So it will be maktab, okay, that's the pattern maf'al, okay? By adding the ta marbuta, okay, you're making this word feminine, exactly. So maktab and maktab, it's following the pattern maf'al, and the morphological weight as well is maf'al. Okay, maktaba, it's following the pattern maf'al, but if we weigh this word morphologically, the morphological weight will be maf'ala. Yeah, you will add the ta marbuta to the morphological weight as well. Okay, so the morphological weight of maktaba is maf'ala. Okay, this is the masculine singular i.e. the place of writing, and this is the feminine singular of the place of writing still. So maktab and maktaba both indicate the place of writing. Maktab has been used recently to indicate either office or desk in modern standard Arabic. Maktaba in modern standard Arabic and in since hundreds of years, it has indicated the word to the meaning of library. Okay, so again a question here: library, should it be called the place of writing or more logically the place of reading? Okay, so where is the logic here of calling a library, okay, the place of writing rather than the place of reading? Okay, but I mean, why did we use the root kataba essentially?
Eventually someone had to write the books before you could read them, and that's what we did.
That's it. That's exactly the case. Okay, so the libraries, they were originally used, okay, just try always to go back in time, okay, to the pre-machine era, okay, so we didn't have machines to write books, okay, so Arabs, they usually were, in order to, let's say, have 1,000 copies of one book, so we'll have, let's say, first of all 10 books written, and then we'll have 10 persons who will read the 10 books to hundreds of writers who will be writing the books, handwritten. So, and this process took place in the library. So the library, it was more importantly used for writing books, okay, rather than for reading them, okay, because writing books was considered more important, okay. So that's why the library, okay, is, or maktaba, it's the place of writing, okay. Let's move on to Brandon. Can you read this word? Maqra'a. Okay, so maqra'a, again, how did we form this word? We replaced the fa with the first letter of the root, which is the qaf, the ayn with the second letter of the root, which is the ra, and the lam with the third letter of the root, which is the hamza. Okay, so it will be maqra', and the ta marbuta. What's the indication of the ta marbuta? Yeah, the feminine gender. So by adding the ta marbuta, you're putting it in the feminine gender. So maqra'a, it's following the pattern maf'al, which indicates the noun of place or noun of time. Okay, ism makan or ism zaman. And if we weigh this word morphologically, it will be maf'ala. Yeah, exactly. So it will be maf'ala. Okay. So how do we get the morphological weight? Let's remember. Yeah, the opposite process, okay, replacing the first letter of the root with the fa, the second letter of the root with the ayn, the third letter of the root with the lam, and then add all the extras, so it will be ma, and then fa'ala, okay, and you will add the ta marbuta, maf'ala, okay. So maqra'a, this root it has to do with reading. Maqra'a, it will be either the time or place of reading. So this pattern, the pattern maf'al, it indicates either the time of the action or the place of the action. Okay? Tahir, next one. Madrasa. Okay. So again, how did we form this word? Yeah, exactly. Replacing the fa with the dal, the ayn with the ra, the lam with the sin. Okay, and then adding the extras. Okay, it will be madras at first, but it's used in the feminine, so it will be madrasa. Okay, the root dal ra sin, it has to do with studying or learning. So madrasa will be literally the place of learning or the place of studying, i.e. school. Okay, next one. Ma'lam, exactly. So again, by replacing the fa with the ayn with the lam, and the lam with the mim, okay, and then adding the extras, so it will be ma'lam. So this root, it has to do with ayn lam mim, it has to do with knowing, exactly. So any guesses? So ma'lam is has been used recently to indicate sight or attraction. Okay. By the way, when I use the term recently, i.e. in, let's say, the last century, okay, or a little bit more sometimes. So ma'lam, it's the sight or attraction. So what's the semantic relationship here between sight or attraction and the place of knowing? Any guesses? This is not a very difficult one to get. Yeah, exactly. By going to a sight or attraction, you're acquiring new knowledge, okay? You're getting new information, okay? So that's why sight or attraction has been called ma'lam, literally the place of knowing, okay? Next one. Mat'am, okay? So this root, again, first of all, forming this word by replacing the fa with the first letter of the root, the ayn with the second letter of the root, and the lam with the third letter of the root, ta, ayn, mim respectively, and then adding the extras, okay? This root, it has ta, ayn, mim, it has to do with eating, okay? So mat'am will be literally the place of eating, okay? Shukran, Michelle. And finally, Aya, can you tell us what's missing? Yeah, it will be mashrab, exactly. The root shin, ra, ba, it has to do with drinking. So mashrab, it will be the place of drinking. Okay. Any guesses? Sorry, any questions about this slide? Okay. I'll need 10 volunteers, please. Okay. First of all, let me tell you what you will do. Okay. So here we have all of these words: sharib, amil, arif, qari, faliq. All of these are following the pattern fa'il, exactly. And all of these words: manqul, maf'ul, mabsuut, manshur, mashhur, all of them are following the pattern maf'ul. Okay? So here you have the pattern, and we need the root. Okay? So I need 10 volunteers to write the roots. Okay? Please come.
Take a minute.
Okay. Yeah, just choose anyone. Okay. The tallest two, please. You please go to Sharif and Mas'ul. Okay, so can you repeat next please? Okay, one more volunteer. We need one more volunteer. One more. We need just one more. Okay. Fire, please go ahead. Yes. Okay. 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 Someone just did. Okay. Someone did the wrong one. Okay. Qari. Who did Qari? Okay. So can we have one more volunteer? Okay. And all volunteers, please write your bonus on the attendance sheet.
Yeah, no, the name is going to so it's Sheen, it's the Wilson one. It's not the.
Okay. Shukran, Aisha. Okay, let's go over the first one. Share it. Okay, who did share it? Okay. The root is Shin, Ra, Ba. Okay, is that correct? Okay, so the first one is correct. Okay, Amil, who did Amil? Okay. Ain, Mim, Lam. Is that correct? Okay. Arif, who did it? Okay, so Ain, Ra, Fa. Is that correct? Okay. Qari, Qaf, Ra, Hamza. Is that correct? Okay. And Faliq, Fa, Lam. Okay.
Close enough.
Fa, Lam, Qaf. Is that correct? Okay. Let's move on to the pattern maf'ul. Okay. Who did manqul? Okay.
I did.
Okay. Nun, Qaf, Lam. Is that correct? Okay. Second one, who did maf'ul? Okay. Sumayra, Fa, Ain, Lam. Is that correct? Okay. Mabsut. Okay. Ba, Sin, Ta. Is that correct? Okay. Manshur, Nun, Shin, Ra. Is that correct? Okay. Yes.
I think I got it wrong.
Okay. So first of all, who did Manshur? Okay. Please, all of you who volunteered, please mark your bonus. Just write bonus, and the reason is volunteering. Okay. Mashhur. Shin. What's this letter? Ha. Okay.
Which variation of it?
Okay. So Shin, Ha, Ra. Okay, is that correct?
I shaped it wrong.
Okay. So please mark your bonuses. Okay, tomorrow we'll be continuing this PowerPoint. We'll be continuing the root and pattern. We'll be having group activities tomorrow as well about the root and pattern. So please be prepared. The group activities will be for bonus, okay? So please, if you feel comfortable with certain groups, try to arrange your groups together before class. Tomorrow we'll be having individual activities as well as group activities, okay? The attendance sheet. Where is the attendance sheet? Okay, Malika, please just write, okay, that it was submitted today.